I'll never forget the day I drove down that quiet suburban street and saw nothing but a flattened patch of dirt where my mother's house used to be. No warm porch light, no rose bushes she'd lovingly tended for decades. Just dust and a sign that read Future Parking Lot, HOA Property Improvement Project. For a few seconds I couldn't breathe. My hands tightened on the steering wheel as the world blurred around me. That house wasn't just a building. It was where my father built our first treehouse, where Mom made us cinnamon rolls every Sunday, where every memory of my childhood was stitched into the walls. And now it was gone. It all started a month earlier when the HOA sent my mother a letter claiming she was violating community standards. Mom, 74, and living on a fixed income, didn't fully understand the legal jargon. They said something about redevelopment, she told me over the phone, her voice shaking. But don't worry, honey. I've been here 38 years. They can't just take my home, except they could. And they did. While Mom trusted them to work things out, the HOA pushed forward with an eminent domain loophole through a shady deal with a development partner. They wanted a new parking lot to make the neighborhood more attractive to buyers. They didn't care that my mom had raised a family here. I'd been busy with work, very busy. Being mayor of a nearby city isn't exactly a job that lets you sleep much. I never imagined I'd need to step into something so personal and ugly. But when I pulled up that day and saw the rubble, I knew this wasn't just about my mom anymore. This was war. My mom was sitting on the curb in her cardigan, holding the porcelain bird she'd saved from the wreckage. She looked small, broken. Mom, I whispered, crouching down beside her. They took my house, baby, she said, her voice fragile. They didn't even give me time to grab your father's things. A fire lit inside me. I had spent my entire career fighting for people who had no voice. And now, they had messed with the wrong woman, the wrong family. I called an emergency meeting with the city council. Though my mom's neighborhood wasn't technically under my jurisdiction, the HOA had violated multiple state housing codes. They hadn't gone through the proper channels. They'd bullied an elderly woman into silence, betting she had no power to fight back. But they hadn't bet on me. The next morning, I walked into the HOA's headquarters wearing my suit and mayor's pin. "Can I help you?" the front desk clerk asked. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. "I'm not here as her son. I'm here as the mayor." The room fell silent. You could see the panic ripple through their faces as the board members realized exactly who they were dealing with. We took the matter to court immediately. My legal team unearthed every shady document, every rushed permit, every corner they'd cut to push the project through. Turns out their so-called redevelopment plan was riddled with fraud. They had planned to demolish several other older homes too, mostly belonging to retirees who wouldn't fight back. But now their scheme was out in the open. Mom attended every hearing. She sat in the front row, clutching my father's old pocket watch. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was a fighter. The media caught wind of the story. A headline on a local paper read, "HOA destroys elderly woman's home. Mayor is her son." Suddenly, the board that had once spoken with arrogance was scrambling to explain themselves. They'd expected to bulldoze lives quietly, but now their actions were on every news channel. After weeks of testimony and pressure, the judge made a ruling. The HOA's redevelopment plan was illegal. Not only were they ordered to rebuild my mother's house, every penny paid for by their budget, but several board members were fined and removed for abuse of power and fraud. The lot where her home once stood was returned to us. I stood there beside her the day the foundation was laid again. Mom squeezed my hand, tears in her eyes. "Your father would be proud of you," she whispered, and I knew he would be. But I didn't stop there. I pushed through new legislation protecting elderly homeowners from HOA overreach, making it nearly impossible for any organization to exploit vulnerable residents like my mom again. This fight had started as something personal, but it became something bigger, a stand for everyone who'd been bullied into silence. Months later, as the rebuilt house stood proud once more, white picket fence, rose bushes replanted, Mom sat on the porch rocking chair, humming like she used to. She looked at me with a soft smile. "You didn't just save my home, sweetheart. You saved my heart." And in that moment, I realized something powerful. No title, No power, no law means anything unless you use it to protect what truly matters. Because sometimes justice isn't just about courtrooms and judges. It's about family. It's about standing up when no one else can. And that day, I made sure the HOA learned one unforgettable lesson. You don't mess with a mother, especially the mother of a mayor.